Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we have some massive news coming out of the League of Legends world that we're going to be talking about. In this video, we are talking about the rumors and leaks, as you see on the screen right here, of Upset maybe potentially headed to the LPL to join Invictus Gaming. So I believe these were leaks from Upset's stream of him talking with his manager Ferris, where it says, I know it's kind of like blurry, there's a little picture that I kind of blew up a little bit, but he said not yet, hopefully hear back soon, might take a little time. I should have an answer by tomorrow. They said, hey, if you can collect as many good VODs you have from scrims or matches, and one pager I'll send over to IG Manager, which would be Invictus Gaming, obviously. They seem pretty interested but need coaches to review, and he says he has a shit ton of scrim blocks to go through, but somebody has to edit them because he can't send full blocks. So he's saying he has clips to be able to send to IG if they're wanting to see like kind of his highlight reel and all that stuff and just how he looks in practice and how he kind of plays and stuff. Obviously they have a ton of film to watch from him just as a player in the scene and stuff, but just some more stuff to reiterate that would be really massive. And definitely at first glance this idea does seem a little bit ridiculous, like Upset going to Invictus Gaming to be their AD carry, a European player going to China, and a Chinese team that just recently won World and is like a massive team internationally. Obviously they didn't make it to World this year, so they're maybe going to be looking to make some moves, but why would they want to bring in a European AD carry and maybe not even like the best European AD carry or anything? I mean, he's very good, but is he like unanimously the best or anything like that? Like some player that's just by far the best player in Europe or anything like that? Seems a little bit crazy. Like it's just something we really haven't seen. But China imports a decent amount of Korean players. Invictus Gaming has two of those Korean players in theshy and Rookie. Obviously, if they're going to be bringing over a third import, they are looking to either get rid of theshy, get rid of Rookie to replace them in some way, or they're planning on moving on, or maybe even one of the two is planning on retiring or something. There must be something going on there if IG is obviously even considering bringing an Upset. But in the last couple of years, Europe at international events, MSI, Worlds, everything, they have kind of started to distance themselves from Korea a little bit. Obviously, Korea is still very good. Koreans are still very good players. But Europe is kind of passing them up. They've performed better than them, at the last few international events. So if China is down to import all these Korean players and Europe is proving largely to be maybe a step above them in some ways, and if not, they're on the track to becoming like significantly better than them in the next coming years, why would China be opposed to importing some Korean player or some European players? That kind of seems like the logical next step. Obviously, China is already so good. They have a ton of talent. They have a ton of amazing players on their server, and they have a ton of young up-and-coming players as well. So I think there could like be an argument made that it wouldn't make sense to bring in a European player over a promising young like Chinese talent or something. And I don't follow the LPL super closely, but I know people on Reddit and stuff have said that in the most recent seasons, AD carry is kind of a weaker role in China, and they don't have the same strength. So if they were going to import a position, maybe it would make sense to import like a good veteran AD carry like Upset. But again, it would be absolutely crazy for him to join a team like IG, who really does plan on being a top team in China. And it's just crazy because it's something we really haven't seen. In the past, we've heard rumors of top Western players like Reckless and Doublelift and some of these guys being linked to some Chinese teams and Korean teams before, but we really haven't had a big name player be imported into one of these leagues pretty much ever. So again, this would be a little bit of a shocker, and it's maybe crazy to some people and ridiculous, but I think at some point in the future, especially if things continue like this, where Europe continues to perform really well, European players continue to like ball out at international events and stuff and prove themselves to be better than Chinese players or better than Korean players, that it does make sense that we could see Western imports in the Eastern scene, whether that be an NA player, a European player, or whatever. Obviously, European players are much more likely at this point as the server is bigger. The server has more like depth of talent. They've proven to be stronger at the top as well. It would make sense that Chinese teams are maybe a little bit more inclined to players like that. But what's also crazy is that we recently talked about the LPL potentially even having a salary cap, which if they implement a salary cap and some of those Chinese players leave to go get paid in other places, that could open up more doors for Western players to maybe import into these Chinese leagues. But then also, these Western players like Upset, he's a big name player who's probably wanting to get paid a decent amount. And if he's going into a salary cap where he may be having to take a pay cut or something, maybe it wouldn't make sense unless he's joining a team that he really thinks can have a lot of like international success or world success or whatever. But yeah, if the salary caps do go through, if salaries do get cut a lot in China, we could see more Chinese players leaving and then more imports needing to come in. But then also it wouldn't be as like exciting or as well paying for European imports to go to China as opposed to like NA where they can really like cash out and stuff. So I think there's just stuff coming from a lot of sides here. I think it is just really, really interesting to see a Western player linked to an Eastern team like that. But I do think it makes sense that in the future we could see some stuff like that happening. So I don't think it's as crazy as some people are making it sound. And obviously Upset is a very, very good AD carry, a very great European player. And if anybody could make the transition from a European league to a Korea or to a China, to an LPL, to an LCK, it's definitely a guy like Upset. Does he make the most sense on IG? Does it seem like the perfect fit? Like, maybe not. I get some of those arguments. But just as far as a player being able to transition from the Western leagues to the East, I mean, we're going to see it sometime in the next few years. So, I mean, this year is as likely as any that we could see a massive change like that happening. And I think it would be absolutely crazy news. And I really want to see it because I want to see, one, how the players perform, what it's like, how well or poorly they're able to do. Because I think if it goes well, obviously it could open the door for like a lot more of that stuff happening. Now, I do think there's a lot of barriers. There's going to be obviously cultural differences, language differences. It would not be easy for a player to just slot in. But we've seen Korean players go to NA. We've seen Chinese players and Korean players go to Europe. We've seen these things happen before, and sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it goes horribly. But it doesn't always go horribly. So I don't know why it wouldn't at least have the option to work the other way as well. But it would be pretty interesting. And when I saw these leaks, I thought it was just a really, really massive story and definitely something I wanted to talk about with you guys. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions as well. Pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below. Do you think Upset is going to China? Do you think he would do well in China? Do you think it makes any sense? Do you think IG can find somebody better? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Definitely subscribe, so you update on my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.